This is KC Sports Tonight.
And with that, welcome into a special edition of KC Sports Tonight, the streaming version and a live version here at Arrowhead. Jared Koller rocking with the rock star of the sports department, Marleah Campbell here. Marleah, is an exciting day. It's always an exciting time for sports here in Kansas City. We're a little biased as Kansas City kids. We love this town, but I think we especially love this place when we get to showcase to the rest of the world how awesome Kansas City is, and that's what we have tonight. The Copa America tournament with Team USA playing right here in Kansas City at Arrowhead. These are moments and games that I don't think the city takes for granted.
Yeah, we're not exaggerating when we say showcasing the entire world. I mean, we just talked to some folks from Uruguay. I talked to a couple people in USA jerseys. They were from South Dakota, Tennessee, Arkansas. So people are driving in from different parts of the country, different parts of the world for this game. A little sneak preview of what's to come with the World Cup, just a little bit of a taste. I think that we're not going to have any idea what we're in for that. I think it's just going to be insane. But just a great day to be able to celebrate Kansas City and the soccer town of America, capital of America.
Well, that's what makes stuff like this cool is you have people that are visiting Kansas City for maybe the first time, that
Right.
are trying our barbecue, that are saying how nice we are as people, how welcoming we are, how great of a stadium this is, how loud it can get. You know, regardless of the actual attendance, there's people like that that'll walk away with positive stories from Kansas City, you hope. But then even more, watching across the globe. This is a big match for Team USA, one that they really need to win. And so you're having a lot of people that when they tune on the TV, they can see, hey, it's in Kansas City. Things are happening in Kansas City. And I don't know, growing up as a kid, I feel like there wasn't that many examples of major big-time sporting events in Kansas City. Now we're used to it with, of course, the Royals going to the World Series and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and playoff games. But you can add this to a list another time with Kansas City on the global stage.
Well, over the last decade, we've really started to see kind of Kansas City, I think, rise to a new level we didn't even know what was possible. I think about the NFL draft. That was a great example of a massive event coming to Kansas City. The nation's spotlight, if not the world's spotlight, was on Kansas City. And as you said, people got to experience our food, our restaurants, got to see the city. You know, sports can provide a really cool platform to just show what this city has to offer, you know, and we're no longer a flyover state. This is a destination spot, and folks are able to experience Kansas City through this platform.
Well, I think we take a lot of pride in our sports teams here. I think sports is a source of pride for Kansas City. We call ourselves the soccer capital of America because I think we have the best soccer fans in the country for both men and women. We host events like this. We're consistently at the top of the ratings as far as watching soccer, whether it's men's or women's in the World Cup or Copa, hosting events. Our facilities, what they have out at Children's Mercy Park or the current stadium, CPKC Stadium, the training facilities, and then playing here at Arrowhead. You know, there's a reason that Kansas City, even though it's one of the smaller host cities for the World Cup, it's a reason that we're still here because this city really embraces soccer, and I'm pretty proud of that, Marleah.
And I'm so excited. Just the World Cup, I mean, this gives us a little taste of that kind of energy. You know, we were out here 5 hours before the game started, and fans are playing soccer games. They're you know, they got their grills firing. They're doing different little pep rallies, kind of impromptu drum lines. I mean, the atmosphere here, the energy is just so electric. And it's something that, you know, Chiefs tailgates are electric, but they're, I think, a little bit of a different atmosphere than we got to see here today.
Well, it's similar to, you and I have both covered a Final Four with Kansas, and I think Final Fours are unique because you get 4 schools in one city, right? You know, with the Super Bowl, there's 2, World Series 2 and stuff. Here, there's two countries, you know, U.S. with a little home field advantage, but the visiting countries.
The Uruguay crowd has been unbelievable.
They are showing out. And for the World Cup, you get even more. You get a full group stage. Won't be the United States. So you're getting 4 new countries that come from across the globe. And then as you continue to advance in the tournament, you get more countries. So we get to celebrate this for one day, but it's even further. I know we had the previous Copa America tournament game at Children's Mercy Park before, but it's like you have these events day after day, which is just really cool. And I'm excited for a nice match.
Yeah, and to put it into a little bit of perspective, I mean, this tournament has been around for 108 years. There's been 48 editions of it over that time. This is only the second time it's been in the United States. I mean, you talked about, before we went on air, about how you watched this tournament growing up a little bit. In high school, you were really into it. You know, this is a big, rare deal that this is here. So very exciting. 14 host cities across the country. Kansas City, of course, one of them. And I think we're in a really special time in this city where anytime we're talking about big national or international events that are being held in the United States, Kansas City is towards the top of the list. Think about the NFL draft. I mean, that was huge to be here. We got to experience what that did to, you know, elevate kind of different businesses, hotels, restaurants, and we're just getting started, so it's a pretty special time to be part of sports in Kansas City.
It's a great time, but it's also a very important match tonight,
Yeah.
Marleah. Of note, the Uruguay head coach suspended for tonight's game, so they're playing not at full strength without their leader, and that makes it even more of a must-win for Team USA. And really, Marleah, you can agree or disagree, but I think Greg Berhalter is really on the hot seat for tonight's game, because if Team USA loses, and even if they draw, then this is going to be a disappointing overall Copa America tournament for the United States. It's really a must-win match for them to have some momentum heading into the World Cup in 2 years, and it's kind of the last chance for Greg Berhalter to show that he should be the leader of this unit heading into a United States World Cup where they're going to be showing out. And it's kind of like the point of no return. If you keep him after this tournament, he's in it for the long haul. You can't make a change after that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to part ways after a loss tonight, it's kind of your last chance to do that. So I'm not saying they're necessarily playing for his job, but a lot of fans are saying that. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how they perform tonight, and then what is the aftermath. If they get a really big win tonight, then I think there's a lot of confidence moving forward, and we'll see the ramifications. Either way, I'm excited.
Well, there's a lot on the line tonight, that's for sure. You got an incredible atmosphere. Understand there are still some tickets left, so if you're watching this and you want to come down here, that is still possible. But I think Uruguay is playing with house money a little bit. Anytime you're facing the United States on their home soil, got a little bit of a home field advantage. So big match tonight. I'm excited to watch it. Again, we're still 2.5 hours out, and this party's bumping. You'd think this game's happening in like 20 minutes by the way these fans are acting. It's awesome.
Well, Christian Pulisic gets the fans out. He'll be out there tonight. So does Tyler Adams. We saw these guys in the World Cup, a couple of years ago, and even further back if you count Pulisic when he really made his debut. It's an exciting time, and we'll see what's happening here in the soccer capital of America. It's nice that we have some momentum with Team USA today. After a winning weekend for both Sporting Kansas City and the KC Current. Marleah, let's start on Friday with the Currents. They win yet again. They have gone 17 straight matches without a loss. That is an NWSL record.
Dating back to last season.
Yeah, it's just, they keep one match after another. I've run out of words to say about this team. They have so many different players that can score. They show out in front of their home crowd. The attendance has been great. Man, it's just a great time to be a Kansas City Current player, coach, and fan.
Yeah, they're through 15 games. They haven't lost all season long.
Yeah.
They're perfect through 15. They're incredible at home, and I think it's really cool that this success is coming at the same time as the inaugural season of the new stadium. It's cool to watch this go hand in hand, because remember 2 seasons ago when the team got to the NWSL championship game, this city was lit up with teal. Union Station had all the flags. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Current t-shirt. Last season, the team took a pretty big dip, missing the playoffs. They did a massive roster overhaul this offseason, and we've seen them reap the rewards of that. 17 games without a loss. No one could beat this team. And the fashion that they've done it, 17 different players have scored for this team. That's an NWSL record. The record was actually 15, so they broke it. They tied it 2 scorers ago. Last week they ended up hitting number 17, so it's this really rare quality. I think it's a championship quality that teams have, where you're not relying on 1 or 2 players to carry the entire team on your back, where it's, forbid something happens, there goes your season. This is a team that has stars, but there's, anyone can be a weapon on any given night.
And new stars, there's turnover. They made a lot of changes both behind the scenes and also on the pitch, and they've, not missed a beat. We forget that this team is still a very young team as far as existence as a franchise. Their first year, they struggled to win any game, and now they struggle to lose any game. It's just, it's an impressive run how quickly they have ascended to the top of the NWSL table.
They're selling out every home game. I was there on Friday, 2 hours before a game started. Again, folks were lining up at the gates before the doors even opened. It's a really good atmosphere, and they're having fun doing it. There's kind of this intangible swagger that I think some teams have. Your favorite example, probably the 2014-2015 Royals era teams. It's something that you can't teach, and this Current team has it. So I'm excited to watch them make a playoff run, because playoff anything in Kansas City is a lot of fun, and we have a lot of teams making their way towards that.
Let the record show Marleah brought up the 2014 Royals. Normally
someone had to.
Do that. I probably was going to eventually, but she did it this time. So shout out Big Game James Shields. No, okay, Sporting Kansas City, though, also victorious this weekend. Second time they get a victory in June. They're starting to play better. Marleah, what stood out to me most in a 2-0 victory over Austin was the defense played so well. And they had struggled for so much of this season. it really hasn't been the fault of goalkeeping that Sporting has struggled this year, in my opinion. Okay, I think Tim Milley, I think John Pulskamp have played perfectly fine as goalkeeping. Just the back line has not been anywhere near the caliber that Peter Vermees wanted. But they showed up against Austin, who is a team they're currently chasing, who's kind of back in the standings that, they're hoping to leapfrog. There's still a lot of games left to be played. They got a lot of ground to make up. But Marleah, they played well. Johnny Russell had a nice assist. I continue to think that the season is not over for Sporting Kansas City. Is that optimistic? Probably.
Yes.
But I think there's still reason to believe they can turn it around, especially if the defense takes a much-needed step forward like they showed on Saturday.
We've seen them do it before. We saw it last season. Winless through 10 games, ended up making the playoffs. They were the first team to ever do that in MLS history. This was certainly a glimmer of hope that I think this club needed, because morale gets kind of low when you're, they had won, before this game, they had one win since March 30th in league play. You mentioned defense. That's massive. Last week, they lost 4-0, but they didn't have any shots on goal in that game, too. Offense has really been struggling, so for them to be able to find the back of the net this game, I think, that's, if we talk about it with the Royals, which we'll talk about later, it's contagious. You need a little bit of confidence to get this group going, and I think we got that this weekend against Austin.
You bring up the 4-0, which was one of the worst performances in recent Sporting Kansas City history, in my opinion, but it wasn't because of bad goalkeeping. It's because the defense was just slow. Yeah. They were out of it. They were getting beat to the ball, and I credit the home crowd. There was a great crowd at Children's Mercy Park this Saturday.
Yeah.
And they played really well. I think it's interesting because they're changing approaches. They're changing strategy. You look at a player like Jake Davis, who kind of came in and started on defense, then they're kind of moving him around, and he's kind of had his ups and downs. I think you see the talent. Then you look at a player like Kyrie Shelton. Marleah, I remember a couple of years ago, he was kind of on to score all the goals, and now they're kind of changing his position around. So I think they're tinkering. And now they're bringing a new general manager, or a sporting director, which is equivalent to a general manager like in baseball or football, and they'll be introduced on Tuesday. Tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
Marleah will be there. It'll be interesting to see, the hierarchy as far as how
I'm interested in the delegation of power that's going to come.
Right, with Peter Vermees, and it's, listen, they're making changes. They recognize that, for now a third straight year, the regular season has not started the way it needs to. But the good news is there's still time to change that, and Saturday was a step in the right direction. Speaking of another winning ball club here in Marleah, the Kansas City Royals.
Right over there.
Reports of their demise may have been exaggerated.
Premature.
Okay, they had a tough stretch, but then they go out and win 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. They win 2 out of 3 against the Cleveland Guardians.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Thank you. And the 2 losses. Well, it was a dumb loss on Tuesday to the Marlins. Okay, a game that the offense just didn't show up. Seth Lugo pitched more than good enough to win. Yeah. And then Saturday, one of the biggest reasons they lost is because of a foul ball that was called a home run.
Unbelievable.
That was just stupid. All right, just flat out stupid. Yeah. And they end up losing that game.
Analysis.
But the other 5 games they win, and they win well. They continue to pitch very well outside of the Cole Reagan start, which again has an asterisk. They're hitting better. Bobby Witt Jr. is getting back into it. Salvador Perez, power stroke, has returned. Vinny Pasquantino has driven in a run in 7 straight games. I think it's really important for him to get going because he's, listen, the 3-hitter, they need him to be better than he's been for a lot of this season. The defense is playing well, and the bullpen is also improved. So, Marleah, they needed to turn it around for the first time all year. At this time last week, and they'd fallen out of a playoff spot. They're back in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, they'd have a wild card spot. Now they got to keep it going. They're off today, and then host Tampa Bay tomorrow.
Yeah, I was in the clubhouse ahead of this homestand, so ahead of the Marlins series. I guess it was last Monday, and a lot of the guys were kind of saying the same message. Was like, look, this wasn't a great couple of weeks for us. I mean, I think they were 8 and 19 over that 2-week period, playing 4 straight division leaders in 4 different series. But the message was, all right, we got off on the wrong foot here the last couple of weeks. We're back at home for 10 games in 11 days. This is the time to kind of get a little bit of momentum back before we get ready to go into the All-Star break here. We actually crossed the technical halfway point of the season with 81 games over the last week.
One of the best 81 games in recent franchise history. I mean, our expectations are now is, hey, this is a team that could make the playoffs. But remember, Marleah, this is a team that lost 106 games last year. They're not going to lose 106
I forget
this year.
that. Yeah, I mean, it's looking at this team. I mean, there's so much optimism. You really kind of skipped a step. It feels like you skipped the quote-unquote like rebuilding year and got right to a dominant team that we're talking about, as you said, in playoff positioning right now. But in the clubhouse, they were talking about this is a pivotal series because you come out here and you do the reverse record. You go, what was it? 3. I'm terrible at math. 3 + 4, 7. You go 2 and 5. They went 5-2
for the week. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they went 5-2.
Oh, don't ask us to do math on the show. 5-2. You go 2-5. You have a complete reverse of this, and we're still having some, kind of doubts about this team. They're going on a real bad downward trajectory. This was a massive week. They needed to get this done and make up some ground against the Guardians. I mean, the division series is massive, and they were able to do exactly what they came in for. Only thing you could have done better, pick up those 2 wins that you mentioned about to kind of freak things, but win both the series.
But I think it's like, they had a downstretch. Marleah, pretty much every team in baseball has a downstretch.
Yeah, it's a 162-game season.
The 2014 Royals, had a 48.
Now I wish I didn't bring it up earlier. I knew it was going to come up.
Had a 48-50 record at one point in July, and then they end up 90 feet away from tying Game 7 of the World Series.
Yep.
The Royals were always going to lose. This wasn't a team that was going to win 105 games this year.
Yeah.
And so it's how do you handle that? This stretch where they struggled, they get swept by the Rangers they get swept in the series for the first time all year, and they respond with the 5-2
terrible against the A's
against a good Guardians team. So I think that's the most impressive part. We continue to see how they go. Royals fans, this homestand Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Rays. It's your last chance to see the Royals until after the All-Star break, so late July. So coming out to the K, Sunday's attendance, Marleah, was the 3rd largest crowd of the year. So I think the fans are starting to show out if the Royals can continue to play this way, and hopefully they do. I also want to say, Marleah, last time we had a KC Sports Night Show, I told you got to go out and vote for Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. for the All-Star game.
You did say
Both
that.
Salvi and Bobby are in the top 2 finalists for All-Star voting against Baltimore Orioles.
Thanks
Adley
to you.
Rushman as a catcher. Yeah, I'm taking credit here. And shortstop Gunnar Henderson. But Kansas City, I need your help.
Yeah.
Voting is still open today. I don't know if Marleah
Jared
is doing
can't
her
do it
part,
by himself, guys.
but I'm doing mine.
He's
so
trying.
Let's get the votes in. Both Bobby and Salvi deserve to be in the All-Star game. So, hey, if they're going to be there, they might as well start. So that's open now. Okay, Marleah, we got a few more minutes here. Let's wrap up with the other storyline at the K this weekend. Bo Jackson inducted in the Royals Hall of Fame on Saturday. You and I were not alive to witness the incredible career of Bo Jackson, but we know about his legacy. A certain someone may have put his picture in the sports office. Me, it's hanging there, the picture of the bat and the football pads. He's a legend, and he's a legend that put Kansas City on the national stage consistently when he was at its best in baseball. And I think it's rightful that one of the most popular players in Royals history, even though he had a short time span, is in the Royals Hall of Fame, Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, special to see him get his flowers here in Kansas City, and you were able to talk to him on Saturday. Yeah, so always special to see those guys come back. And Bo Jackson, one of the greatest to ever do it. I don't think we're ever going to see a guy with a career like his again. But certainly blessed that he came through Kansas City. A lot of legends come through here.
And I'm putting you on the spot here, so feel free to say you don't have an answer. But when you think of Bo Jackson, is there anything you think of specifically, like a highlight or a moment that, again, since we weren't alive for Bo Jackson, is that when you think of lore, is there anything that comes to mind? And again, you can say not really.
Yeah, no, it's cool that you mentioned that because I was watching the game this weekend, and just those highlight montages just like evoke so much emotion, and so it's really cool to see those back. If I had to pick one or two, I don't know if I could. I feel like you set me up for this because you have a great answer.
No, I don't. It's that's part of his mystique is that you can watch that highlight reel, like you said, and be like, this dude was different. All right, he was doing things on the ball field that
and just his build. I mean, it's
big
just,
guy.
Yeah.
When you're a powerful downhill running back and you're also an outfielder, it's just, I mean, when George Brett says you're the greatest athlete he's ever seen, that's saying something.
That's something. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So no, I don't have. Obviously, I think him running up the wall is something that people try to do and fail. I think him throwing out Harold Reynolds at home in Seattle, just a complete nuke from the outfield, stands out. His home run in the All-Star game with President Ronald Reagan in the booth at that time, and the call is Bo Jackson says hello. He won All-Star Game MVP in 1989. Just the stolen base. His first career hit, he had a ground ball to the middle infield, and he beat it out with an infield single. That's just how fast he was. He had the arm. He had the power. He bat on his head would just break the bat on his helmet, which I don't know. I think Kenny Price, our photographer, might be able to do that.
And here he comes
to demonstrate.
Luckily, we have a bat, right?
Yeah, that's what is. We talked with Bo Jackson's grandson, who loves watching Bo Jackson highlights, and he did a little bat breaking impression. He's like a 3-year-old kid, so that was really cool. So yeah, if you want to hear more of Bo Jackson, I tweeted out about 2.5 minutes in talking about how much he loves Kansas City, what it means to see his jersey still popular today. And that cute moment with his grandson watching highlights. So shout out Bo Jackson. Shout out Marleah Campbell. Shout out Kenny Price. And shout out you, the viewer, for watching. It's about our time to wrap here. We're going to be live in the 6 o'clock news on KCTV5 here at the Copa America tournament. And Marleah, it's another great day to call Kansas City home.
That's beautiful, too. Come out if you're not out here yet. It's a great day.
This will end the stream. James Shields, salute. See you guys. Thanks for watching.